Okay, so this should be quite an interesting one to make. So, within about 19 hours at the time of recording this video at least, the next season of Glorious Battle will start, or season 1 of it actually, if we're considering the last one as a testing season, even though all those dead troops and used resources and speed ups didn't feel very testy to me, but it is what it is. They have released a forum post going over changes going into this first season, and I haven't looked at them yet, and I thought I might as well just record my first impressions of them, because I was quite opinionated on what should be changed for the event to be a bit healthier, because I did think it was a very interesting event. So let's have a look at it. So the Glorious Battle Season 1 is about to begin. Devs have made some optimizations based on your suggestions and feedback on the testing season. A certain proportion of war expense will be returned to you in the results phase. I'm assuming that means sort of like return troops in the no-def KVK, right? Where some of percentage of what you lose comes back after the event. A bit like Seven's Blessing, Seven's Favor, whatever that's called, after you take a rally. That's an interesting change. That will probably be pretty healthy. Defeating an NPC city won't be as difficult as before. Please God, could it not be? That, I hope, is significantly reduced in terms of difficulty, because that was absurd before. So that's definitely good. We'll have to see if they show any specifics on that though. And a Glorious Battle Hospital is added, and there will be a peace period every week. A Glorious Battle Hospital. Does that mean it has different resource and healing speeds? I hope so. I think I at least touched on that as a suggestion before. The peace period every week, I assume that's around event days probably, because I know previously you could, it was like during UC if I remember correctly, so for us we were in UC, we got to top 8 I think it was, and in one of the earlier rounds we had the factions to our north and our south declare war on us at 1900 GMT when we were going into UC, and we had to fight both of them off whilst inside the AC map, and it was just total chaos. It's just a total mess. So that, if that is the case, another positive change I think. Plus a commander can impeach another commander to make it more efficient and strategic. Can impeach. Huh. Okay, visit the forum and check out the detailed improvements. Okay, that impeachment one sounds a bit weird. Need to see specifics on how that's done before having an opinion on that, honestly. We load up the forum post here. It's taking a very long time to load. Okay, there we go. Alright, so that's just the same as the mail in game. Alright, added Glorious Battle Hospital. Glorious Battle will have an exclusive hospital. The hospital capacity of the exclusive hospital is the same as that of the Westeros hospital, but the exclusive hospital has a lower resource cost for healing and a faster healing speed. Okay, those are good changes, but it depends on how much. If it's like 20% lower resource costs and healing speeds, it doesn't really change much. It will still be really annoying. But if that's significant, that is a very good step in the right direction. Troops wounded in Glorious Battle will be sent to the Glorious Battle Hospital at the end of the season. There are still wounded troops left in the Glorious Battle Hospital. These troops will be sent to the Westeros Hospital. Westeros Hospital capacity can be exceeded for this admittance into hospital. That's an interesting note. So if you have like 500k capacity and then had another 500k in the Glorious Battle Hospital, you'd have like 1 million in your hospital in here, I guess, is how I'm reading that. That's kind of crazy. Afterwards, the Westeros Hospital will be unable to take in more wounded troops until the hospital space is freed up. That makes sense. So, that's a good start. The defeated rates, I said previously, needed to be toned down. It seems like they've gone in a different direction, but have still tried to address that problem. So we had at the top here, certain proportion of war expense will be returned during the results phase, so that should be some returned troops of dead, and then it should be easier to heal during the event. That's good. That was definitely needed for this event to be playable long term. That is definitely a good start. 2. Impeachment, right? What is this? Impeachment and blacklist. Impeachment. A commander can impeach another commander, after which all other commanders have to cast their vote. If more than half the commanders agree, the impeachment is successful. The impeached commander will no longer be a commander and lose all commander permissions. If some commanders do not cast their votes, they will be considered as having voted to reject impeachment. Okay. I'm wondering what the time frame is on this vote, because if it just times out and it will count as a reject vote, then you'd have to communicate with other faction leaders and all vote at the same time to get rid of someone. Does this also mean you can just totally remove everyone not on your side if you have a numbers advantage? I think so, because it doesn't make it seem like you have to replace them. You just get rid of them. But that's good. My fix to this was just make it a one kingdom event to avoid using warhorns stupidly. I'm guessing using warhorns stupidly in the first days will still be an issue with this, because you'll have to have people mess up before you can impeach them, and then you'll have to go through the hassle of communicating with others to get them on at the same time to all do that vote. But at least there is a way of stopping people if they're being really troublesome. At least it didn't really affect my group last time, luckily, but I know it was really annoying for some people. It was mostly annoying in those first 1 or 2 days though, and I'm guessing there won't be much of an opportunity to impeach until some of those mistakes are made, because you can't just boot people without a reason, right? And then blacklist. Commanders can block a certain non-commander lord of the same faction from fortress buildings. Upon being blocked, the lord will not be able to deploy troops from fortresses. Alright, so they went the opposite way that I was thinking. I was thinking more of like a whitelist, where if you have 5 of your best rally leads and then you will tick boxes for them and then they can deploy from them. This kind of works too, I guess. If you want to do it my way, where you only want a few people to deploy from fortresses, this will still be annoying, especially on populated kingdoms where you don't have as much control over everyone. Like, controlling within your own alliance is fairly easy, but stopping like 300, 400 people from messing up it can be tricky. But for trolls or people with accounts on your kingdom but they aren't allies and they want to sabotage you, this does allow you to prevent that. That is a positive change for sure. Neutral city kills. Defending city defense troops of neutral cities will not grant elimination points or merit points. They didn't already, so I'm not sure why that's listed. That's quite a weird thing to include, because they never gave merit, for sure. They gave elimination points for like 1 or 2 days, but then they stopped that and wiped the leaderboards clean. So I'm not sure this needed to be specified, but it is a change they made during the last season, I guess. Okay, adjusted. Peace period. Tuesday 12 GMT to Wednesday 12 GMT. That's phrased very weirdly. I'm assuming it's more 00 GMT. So it can't be noon till noon. That doesn't make much sense, because that wouldn't overlap with... Oh no, okay, so it's just war declare, so it will start an 8-hour timer, so you could start at 12 and then the war would start, I guess, as soon as 1900 events end. The issue is it will be during UC, so you can still line it up with 2200 GMT events, which is a bit of a loophole, but for normal seasons at least this should help. So on Friday, The day before War of the Kingdoms and Champion City Siege official matches to 12 GMT on match day or peace periods. During a peace period, war cannot be declared against cities, okay? It helps as a positive change. It should stop splitting people's attention across 2 or 3 things. There is, I still think, a bit of a loophole there with 2200 UC matches, but it's better than nothing. There's very rarely matches actually played at that time, but I do foresee that being an issue, because there is normally one somewhere during EC. When the matchmaking phase ends, the matchmaking results will be announced, and 4 powerful lords from each kingdom in the faction, the alliance leader and the officials of the alliance top in the alliance rankings. If some of them are not in the kingdom concerned, the person who ranks first in power in the alliance will be the replacement, will be chosen. Alright, so this is just the exact same as before, right? Why are they listing this? This is just the exact same system, right? I'm pretty sure it's just the exact same system. Maybe I'm wrong? In my experience, at least, that was how it worked before. After the battle phase has ended, the results phase begins. Lords can find out who's the most powerful faction on the battlefield from the results screen. Okay, here we go. In the results phase, a certain proportion of war expense will be returned to lords, including 10% of troops who died and 10% of the resources used for healing. That feels too low to me. It's better than nothing, but 10% probably not feel relevant at all. This, I'd rather there just be no resource costs in this Glorious Battle Hospital, because they were so ridiculous before. I really hope this doesn't imply that the resource costs will still be a big problem. I can't go through that again. My item stashes can't go through that again either. But it's good. It's better than nothing. It is better than nothing. I'd rather it be 20%, say, but it is better than nothing. Resilience formula. Okay, that is very wordy. So I'm assuming there are slight changes to the resilience system compared to before. I can't look at... Oh, I can look at the rules. There's the resilience system. Or does this just have the updated? I'm assuming it does, yeah. Where's the resilience stuff? So yeah, that's the exact same wording as is in here. So if there's changes, I'm not exactly sure what they are. Every 5 seconds of marching uses up 1 resilience, that's the same. If troops are lost in a battle with an enemy, 15 resilience will be used when that battle ends. That concerns me, because that wording implies that if you have 0 dead with the Legion skill, you won't drop resilience, which, yeah, we've seen how silly that is already. It should be after every fight, regardless of troop loss. Otherwise, that skill becomes oppressive. And I see, my idea was to just remove dragons in the event, but it seems like dragons are still going to be there, which I assume means this skill will still be absurdly overpowered. I think they could have maybe handled that a bit differently, because that skill really is just so stupid in this event. It really is. Like, if you send full tier 4, it will literally prevent 60,000 deaths every single time you get hit. And if you have anything any below 60,000 deaths, you will have 0, and you'll just keep farming everyone who is significantly weaker than you, and you'll just stick in a building for like 100 plus people, which is a bit too much in my opinion. Maybe these resilience changes will make it a bit harder to just totally whale your way through. We'll have to see. I'm not entirely sure on the effects of how this stuff will be in practice, so we'll have to test that. When troops, commanders and dragons are deployed in Glorious Battle, they cannot be deployed in Westeros. Data for commanders and dragons will be copied into Glorious Battle. Westeros and Glorious Battlefield are independent of each other. Okay, so you can full buff yourself, you can get further in a dungeon lord, and you don't have to be terrified about being soloed with your lord out. Whilst it's in the event, which is good, because yeah, that was a bit unnecessary that was part of the event. Even if a lord is captured in Westeros, lord deployment will still be unaffected in Glorious Battle. Okay. Well, I think overall, this is definitely a step in the right direction. There are still some things I would have liked to have seen being done differently or also added. We're going to have to wait for specifics on this, depending on how much lower resource costs and how much lower healing speeds are required. This could be a huge change, but we really need to see for ourselves how big of a difference it is. They don't list anything here about NPCs being easier to kill. Again, we're going to have to see how much easier they are, because I would like to see, you know, other top accounts, even without the reinforcement skill, be able to easily enough go through the NPCs. You shouldn't need the stupid skill to wipe the floor of them and just go 800 kills in a row. And if you're not there, then your whole faction is screwed, because that is not healthy game design in my opinion. But the fact anything's been done to make them easier is good. Let's wait and see how much easier they'll be. You can get rid of troublemakers. You can get rid of troublemakers here too. Both good changes. Maybe would have done them a bit different myself, but at least there's some system there. This stuff is definitely good. It will slightly reduce, I guess, how strategic you can potentially be with like fucking over other factions, but it was really annoying and really frustrating being on the opposing end of having war declared on you whilst you're in AC or UC. That was very frustrating, so that's good. And returning a bit of troops and a bit of resources, that's good. I would have liked to have seen them still have the data from the first season and reimburse some from that, but I guess we're not going to get that. That for a testing season, my god, that really was the bloodiest testing season ever seen. It really, really was. Oh well, it's done now. Let's just never think of that ever again, because that was a horrifying time in this game's life cycle, I think. Where we all just sacrificed all our troops and all our resources to the developer gods up there. Long may our troops and resources be remembered. Yeah, I think that's about it. I'm not sure how long this video even is. I feel like I went on for quite a long time, but oh yeah, people are always gonna complain no matter what, aren't they? I do find it funny reading through the comments like this sometimes. God damn, there's a lot of pages. Yeah, I agree. With a certain degree of distrust. Well done. I agree. That's basically my reaction to. I want to see specifics of numbers before I really have an opinion, but I think that sums up my thoughts too pretty well. Good changes, GT Arcade. Let's hope this event can be as good as I think we all think it can be.